Hello friends and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Miriam. I am an actor with a full-time job in advertising / social media. If you're a returning watcher, thank you so much for clicking on today's video. This is gonna be super chill, kind of chatty, but it's been a minute since I've done a drink with me video, so I figured why not? It's Friday, it's kind of gloomy, so if the lighting looks funky, that's why. Today I really wanted to talk about my perspective on the state of the acting industry, or just like my point of view on the industry overall, entertainment, however you want to call it. So if you're an actor, you might find this video very helpful, but even if you aren't, I think you still will, because you might have a creative in your life. And either way, I hope that the things that I'm sharing you can still take from and apply in whatever situation that you might find yourself in. So grab your drink. Mine is a nice coffee, which it looks like I drank a lot, but I really haven't. I barely touched it. So basically, this is just my perspective. This is my approach. This is how I'm handling things. Take what resonates, leave everything else behind. It's a lot to talk about. My emotions are a little bit all over the place, if I'm being completely honest with you, because this industry is wild, it's crazy, and it's constantly changing. And that is something that has always been true. So I think the most important thing is just remember that the industry is gonna industry. There's a lot that we can't control, and it's gonna go through periods of trends. And when I say trends, I just mean like trends in the types of shows that get greenlit, the type of actors that they hire, things like that. But either way, there's always a wave that we need to kind of ride. And we knew getting into this that it's very unpredictable. But the way I always see things is life is unpredictable. So a couple of things that have affected the industry that we need to just keep top of mind. We had this thing called the pandemic. Remember that? The world shut down, and quite literally so did the industry. So that obviously affected things. And then we had the strikes, and listen carefully, I said strikes. And that kind of had things in a very weird place too, because we didn't know what was going to happen. Each strike, each union affects how the other one operates. And our strike was at the tail end, right? Let's look at these dates. Let's look at the dates of these strikes just so that we can have them, like I said, top of mind. Okay, so the writer's strike was from May 2nd, 2023 until September 27th of that same year, 2023. Now the actor's strike started in between that, July 14th, 2023 until November 9th, 2023. Okay, why do I say that? Like I said, one strike affects the others. As actors, we need writers to write the projects that we want to audition for. So when the actor's strike ended on November 9th, I remember so many people being, rightfully so, excited that they came to a resolution. However, whichever way you may feel about the contract, let's just put that aside, because that's a whole other conversation. But I remember seeing people's videos and reactions and tweets and all that stuff. I'm like, can't wait to get back to work, can't wait to get on set. And like, people so excited to just get back to whatever. I struggled with that sentiment because yes, I was excited, but my thought process wasn't, I can't wait to get back to work. Now we can get back to work. Like this whole idea of like things are going to resume and go back to normal right away. It was November. That's towards the end of the year. The industry tends to slow down around that time anyway and come to a bit of a pause because of the holidays. So in my mind, I'm like, when are things realistically going to start picking up again? Not going back to normal, because I don't think there's a normal anymore ever since the pandemic anyway. So for me, I was just kind of like, when are things going to kind of get moving again? I didn't think it would be January, to be quite honest with you. I know people were very excited about pilot season, but I'm thinking, well, what pilot season? What are we doing? Because if you think about it, yes, the writer's strike ended in September, but if you were reading any of the trades, you know that there were a couple of things that changed. The whole cycle of how they write for these shows, all of that was just different. It changed. And so if the flow of content that would be produced is changing, then inevitably auditions would be changing. That's the first thing to remember. Technically speaking, in my eyes, things quote unquote didn't start up again sometime early 2024. I'm not going to say January. Everyone's situation is different, but I don't feel like anything kind of really started moving until like March, April. And I'm not even speaking for myself. I'm speaking for other friends that were like auditioning or doing something. Okay. So we have that. That's only a year ago. Okay. It's only been about a year if you really think about it. I think as actors, we have to remember the factors that contribute to how things are now. And a lot of these things are things that we don't have any control over. We had the pandemic, we had the strikes, and then the other thing that we forget about, and I had a conversation with my agent and we did talk about this, and she mentioned this, and I was like, oh, yes, the LA fires. We can't forget about the fires. We can't forget about the people in the industry. The majority of it comes out of LA and how they were impacted and how that's going to impact productions. A couple of other things, and I don't want to say little things, but just like things, is just like a lot of productions moving to other countries, productions moving to other states, tax incentives, and without saying the obvious, just like the state of the world right now and the topics that are being talked about and how that kind of trickles down to different sectors. At the end of the day, we really don't know how things will change and how they will impact us. The only thing that we do know is that things are unknown right now. And I think it's very easy as an actor in this industry to feel angst because obviously we want to work. We want to do what we love. Things have been incredibly slow for everyone, not just actors, casting directors, producers. The way studios are greenlighting things now, they're very focused on IP. I don't think that's new. I just think it's even more of a thing now. It's easy to, like I said, get caught up in the angst. And because of social media, I feel like there's so much messaging coming from all directions. Other actors, casting directors, writers, producers, etc. And I think that if you allow yourself to, you can cause a lot of internal turmoil. And that kind of shows up on the outside too. And obviously stress is not healthy. You can get caught up and start feeling certain things and thinking certain things. I myself am guilty of this. I am not perfect. I have my moments and I see what other people are doing. I'm like, oh my God, I need to be doing that. I need to be taking more classes. I'm not doing enough. I'm lazy. I'm not working hard enough. I need, new headshots, which I do. I need new headshots. But you know what I mean? Like I need to do all these things. I need to be doing more. And then I have to remember, where am I at in my life right now? Do I have the funds to do any of those things? Is that where I'm at right now in my artistic journey? I think sometimes we feel like we have to do certain things. And don't get me wrong, I truly believe in taking classes. I think being in class and being with other actors is very, very, very important. But I also think something else is important that we forget, which is to take care of ourselves, take care of our mental health, take care of just our health in general, our bodies, go to the doctor, get a physical, see what's going on, I think we forget about the emotional life and just like living life. We have to remember to self-regulate. I think that's also very important. I think it's important to do what you can with what you have. Our job as actors, it doesn't end just because we're not on a set. There are things that we could still be doing to keep us in practice. And yes, you can be doing scenes with your friends. You could be doing that. That's free, right? If you've always been interested in writing, if you could take a free workshop, any free workshop. As actors too, we also have to remember to just stay tuned into the world. And I know things are chaotic right now and there's always some freaking breaking news. But what I mean by that too is just understanding the state of society right now, because art is so reflective of the times. I think it's important to also look at what people are talking about, how people are feeling about certain things. What is it about your life and your day-to-day that you can do to help you stay, number one, in tune with yourself, but in tune with your art so you have something to pull from, so you feel excited again, so that you feel joy. We're all scared. And I think we're all just kind of like, what's going to happen? How is this going to affect that? It's so hard to not take on someone else's anxiety, because whenever I do talk to my actor friends, we're obviously all worried. We're worried about like what some of the studios are going to decide to do and how they're going to change, if they're going to move all of their productions out of the country and like all of that stuff. And they're valid concerns. I just remember that like there's art all around me. I'm not just an actor when I'm on set. My job is to remain empathetic and look at the world around me and to not lose my art and not lose my hopes in my dreams in the midst of uncertainty, because uncertainty is just a part of life. And it's really hard to accept that. It is really hard to accept that. Remembering to stay up to date with all of the things that can affect the industry, reading the industry news, signing up to any free newsletters. Again, if you're paying attention to what people are saying online, you have a little bit of an insight into the behind the scenes of the industry too, because I think we forget that. We forget about the casting director life, the writer's life, the DPs, the studio executives, the marketing teams at these studios. Like, everyone has a perspective. There are things that we as actors don't know about that will affect the type of content that is going to be put out, where these are going to be shot, and what are the opportunities that we have wherever you live. I remember I had this acting teacher a while ago. It may have been when I was in conservatory, or it may have been like one of those talkbacks that I went to. I don't remember. But I do remember the message, which was like, embrace the slowness. What is it about the period of things being so slow for you that you can use to your advantage? I always say, yes, things are slow for me right now, but what can I do to better prepare myself for the moments when things kind of pick up? Because that's just how it is in this industry. For me personally, it's been very slow, but then I had like 1 or 2 weeks where I had auditions back to back, and they were very last minute. Like, one was due in less than 12 hours. It's hard to do those things with a full-time job, but I always think, like, am I even mentally, physically prepared for those moments? Do I have the capacity to take that on? So I always think about that too. What is it about the slow moments that can help me prepare for like the busy times? I'm just trying to find my pockets of joy and do the things that I love and that bring me joy. It's creating content for you guys. I find joy in listening to actors roundtables and actors on actor interviews. I find joy in going on my walks in the park. I find joy in the fact that I have access to the internet. I find joy that I get to write, even if it's just a short little poem. Even if it's a short film. We have to find those things that keep us human, that fill up our cup, and that keep us in a state of gratitude, even when things are slow. Where am I going with all this? I just wanted to have like this honest conversation about it. So to sum it up, I guess, my approach is accepting that there are things out of my control. How I prioritize my life and my artistic business is only my business, and I have to do what is right for me. And the third thing is just to remember to take time for myself, to sit down, to quiet the world, to quiet the thoughts and opinions and anxieties of other people, and really sit with what I am truly, truly feeling. Let that guide my next steps. I hope this was helpful. Let me know in the comments how you are dealing with things, whether or not you're an actor. And if you missed my previous drinks with me, or drink with me, I forgot what I called it. It was all about my call with Meta and the tips that they gave me for Instagram growth. I also shared a little bit about what it is about all those Meta calls that we were seeing here on YouTube that people weren't telling you about. But yeah, I'll link that in the description box if you're interested. I hope you gained something from this video, even if it is just like feeling like you were talking with a friend, keeping it real AF. But anyways, yeah, let me know if there's any other topics that you want me to cover, and I'll be happy to do that. Until then, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care of yourselves and fill your cup of joy. Bye.